It seems harmless. An umbrella left behind on a rainy street. You bend down to pick it up, but the handle feels ice cold, as though someone else is still holding it. Then you hear it, faint breathing, right beside you. Welcome back to Voices of Fear, where true stories and chilling legends come alive. Tonight, we enter the dark heart of Hong Kong's folklore. Two terrifying tales that begin with something as ordinary as an umbrella, but end in tragedy, horror, and hauntings that refuse to fade. These are not just urban legends, they are warnings. Viewer discretion is advised. Before we begin, tell us in the comments what city or country you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to Voices of Fear, so you never miss our descent into the unknown. Hong Kong, a city of neon lights, endless rain, and alleyways that never seem to sleep. By day, it's alive with movement, markets overflowing, voices calling, umbrellas opening like flowers in a storm. But by night, the city changes. Beneath its glass towers and busy streets, shadows stretch long, and whispers cling to the narrow back lanes. Here, modern life and ancient superstition live side by side, and one of the most quietly feared objects is something so ordinary you might not even think twice before touching it: the umbrella. In Chinese folklore, umbrellas are far more than protection from the rain. They are bridges, objects believed to connect the living with the world of the dead. To open one indoors is to invite wandering spirits into your home. To leave one open overnight is to give the restless a place to hide. Some stories say umbrellas provide shelter for ghosts, shielding them from the burning sun or guiding them through the streets during the ghost festival, when the boundary between the living and the dead thins. Red umbrellas in particular are feared, often linked to rituals of the dead or spirits seeking companionship. So, when an umbrella is left behind on the streets of Hong Kong, locals don't always assume it's forgotten. They whisper that it may have been placed there intentionally, that it may not belong to the living at all. Taxi drivers refuse to pick them up. Shopkeepers won't touch them, even to clear the way. For to claim a stray umbrella is to risk carrying something home with you, something unseen. The stories you're about to hear take us first into the rain-soaked streets of Kowloon, where an ordinary black umbrella marked the beginning of a nightmare. Then, we travel to the quiet stillness of a new territory's village, where a crimson umbrella was said to bring death itself. Both tales begin with something ordinary, but both end with something terrifying. Story 1, The Umbrella in Mong Kok. It was a stormy evening in Mong Kok, Kowloon, a place where neon lights shimmer through sheets of rain, where alleyways seem to vanish into shadow, and where umbrellas bob like black sails in a restless sea of people. Chung, a young office worker, was tired. His day had dragged, his clothes were damp, and his umbrella had barely survived the winds tearing down Nathan Road. As he hurried past a row of shuttered shops, something caught his eye. Leaning perfectly upright against a lamppost was an umbrella, not torn, not dripping, not broken like the others littering the street. It was black, smooth, almost too perfect, as though someone had just placed it there for him. Chung paused. A superstition tugged at the back of his mind. He had heard stories about abandoned umbrellas, but practicality won. He told himself it was just luck, just coincidence. He reached down, and his fingers closed around the handle. The moment it snapped open, the world changed. The crowd's noise dulled into muffled echoes like voices underwater. The air pressed down, colder than the storm around him, and with each step toward home, he felt it. Someone, something, walking just behind. He dared not turn around. That night, Chung set the umbrella near his front door, shaking off the unease. But at 3 a.m., he woke. His apartment was silent, except for one sound. Drip, drip, drip. Confused, he thought he had left a window open, but the storm had passed hours ago. He followed the sound into the living room and froze. The umbrella was open. He hadn't touched it. And beneath it, glistening on the floor, were wet footprints, bare feet, too large to be his. They led across the room and stopped right at his bedroom door. In the days that followed, neighbors noticed Chung's change. Once cheerful, he became pale and sunken-eyed. He complained to a friend that when he walked home at night, he heard footsteps echoing his own, always one step behind. He claimed that at times when he opened his door, he would see a figure standing under the umbrella in the dark, its face hidden. No one believed him. They thought stress, overwork. But weeks later, Chung was found dead in his flat. Official cause carbon monoxide poisoning from a faulty heater. But locals never accepted the explanation. Some whispered that the umbrella had chosen him, that it belonged to a wandering spirit seeking shelter. Others claimed the umbrella was cursed, passed from victim to victim, always waiting in the rain. Even today in Mong Kok, older shopkeepers warn, if you see an umbrella abandoned on a stormy night, leave it. It may not belong to the living. Story 2. The Red Umbrella of the New Territories. In the quiet stretches of the New Territories, far from the neon chaos of Hong Kong Island, traditions linger like shadows. Villages here hold tightly to rituals, offerings at roadside shrines, incense burning for the dead, and whispered warnings to children. One of the oldest warnings was simple: never touch the red umbrella. The villagers said it appeared without warning, on nights when thunder rumbled over the hills, when the clouds hung heavy and the air felt thick enough to choke. That's when it would show, always in the same place, leaning against the wooden post of the village shrine. No one ever saw who left it. No one dared move it, for the red umbrella, they said, was not left behind by human hands. One summer night, a group of teenage boys gathered near the shrine. The sky was restless. A storm crouched just beyond the hills. Among them was Kwan, the kind who always laughed the loudest, always dared others to test the limits of fear. When the umbrella appeared, glowing crimson in the lantern's dim light, his friends froze. But Kwan grinned. See, just an old umbrella, nothing more. Before anyone could stop him, he strode forward and grabbed it. The handle was slick, unnaturally cold against his palm. With a showman's flourish, he twirled it open. The laughter stopped. Inside, the fabric wasn't dry. It glistened, dripping, as though it had just been soaked in heavy rain. But the sky above was dry. No rain had yet fallen. And then they saw them. Muddy handprints. Dozens, pressed against the underside of the umbrella as if countless unseen figures had clawed at it from below, trying to escape. Kwan's grin faltered. His friends shouted for him to drop it, but he only stared, his face draining of color. His hand trembled. And then, without a word, he closed the umbrella, tucked it under his arm, and walked home. That night, he never returned. At dawn, the villagers searched. They found him near the shrine. His body was twisted unnaturally, arms bent at impossible angles, his eyes wide open, staring at the sky. He still clutched the umbrella. His lips were blue, his skin pale, and though no rain had fallen that night, his clothes were soaked through. The official story whispered by outsiders was vague, perhaps a seizure, perhaps a fall. But the villagers knew better. There were no cliffs, no rooftops nearby. It was as though he had been dropped from the sky itself. After the boy's death, the umbrella vanished. Some swore it dissolved into mist before their eyes. Others claimed a villager secretly burned it in an attempt to break the curse. But whatever its fate, the story did not end. Because every few years, on storm-heavy nights, villagers say that it comes back. Always the same place, always leaning against the shrine. The crimson cloth glistening, waiting for another hand to claim it. Elders warn that the red umbrella is tied to ghost marriages, an old custom where the dead are wed to the living to appease restless spirits. Some believe the umbrella is a lure meant to find the next unwilling spouse for a wandering ghost. And so children are warned, when the storm clouds gather and thunder rolls through the valleys, do not wander near the shrine, and if you see a red umbrella waiting in the dark, do not touch it. These stories may sound like cautionary tales told to frighten children, but in Hong Kong, the umbrella is no ordinary object. It is a bridge between the world of the living and the shadowlands of the dead. For centuries, Taoist priests have carried black umbrellas during funerary rituals. These were not meant for rain, but to shield mourners from wandering spirits, blocking unseen forces from attaching themselves to the grieving. In contrast, the red umbrella has long been linked to ghost marriages, ceremonies meant to unite the living with the departed. In these rituals, red symbolized blood, binding, and unfinished desire. But outside temples and rituals, umbrellas take on a darker role. Taxi drivers who roam Hong Kong streets at all hours speak of passengers who vanish into thin air. A lone rider hails a cab on a stormy night, always carrying an umbrella. They sit quietly in the back, saying almost nothing, until they arrive at a cemetery, a temple, or a long-forgotten street corner. When the driver turns for payment, there is no one there, only the umbrella dripping wet on the seat. Security guards in Mong Kok shopping malls tell of storage rooms locked for the night, where umbrellas are left stacked. Yet, in the silence, they hear them creak open one after another, as if invisible hands are sheltering beneath them. Some guards refuse night shifts entirely, claiming they've seen shadows crouching under umbrellas where no one stood. Even ordinary people pass by umbrellas abandoned on sidewalks and refuse to touch them. In the bustling heart of the city, where every inch of space is precious, why would a perfectly fine umbrella be left behind? Locals whisper the answer: because it does not belong to the living. Folklorists say the umbrella carries echoes of unfinished journeys. In death, when the spirit lingers, the umbrella becomes a shelter, a place for the ghost to rest before moving on. To pick it up is to invite that spirit to follow you home. And so, the warnings endure. Never open an umbrella indoors. Never leave one open at night. Never ever pick up an umbrella left on the roadside. For in Hong Kong folklore, to take what is not yours is to take what belongs to the dead, and the dead always come to collect. Skeptics will tell you these are only morality tales, stories born from fear in a city where death often hides in plain sight. They'll point to statistics. In a place as crowded as Hong Kong, people vanish, accidents happen, and tragedy is easily woven into ghost stories. The human mind, scarred by grief, creates hauntings of its own. But believers see something else. To them, umbrellas are not just tools of convenience. They are portals, a doorway between realms. An abandoned umbrella, especially one found in the rain, may not be forgotten by the living at all. Instead, it may have been left behind by the dead. Folklore teaches that spirits crave shelter, just as humans do. An umbrella offers cover, a hiding place, a vessel, and once opened by mortal hands, the spirit has found a new sanctuary, no longer drifting aimlessly, but anchored inside your home, inside your life. Perhaps the truest lesson here is this: the most dangerous curses often come not from dark rituals or forbidden spells, but from the ordinary. A chair, a mirror, a trinket, or even an umbrella. Things so simple we never question them until it is too late. So, what do you think? Are these tales nothing more than urban legends, whispers born of superstition and grief, or do umbrellas truly carry the weight of restless souls, waiting for the living to make a fatal mistake? One thing is certain: in Hong Kong, these warnings are not told lightly. To touch what has been abandoned is to invite questions you cannot answer, and company you cannot see. Thank you for staying with us until the very end. If this story haunted you, make sure to subscribe to Voices of Fear, so you never miss the next descent into the unknown. And next time, we'll uncover another true horror, darker still, where an everyday object becomes the doorway to something unspeakable, and survival is never guaranteed. Until then, don't step into the darkness alone.